up, guys? I'm Zach Nash. This is my YouTube video. I'm a 2023 DGPT rookie, and this is my In the Bag series. Alright, let's get into it. Starting with putters, we'll go what I putt with and then what I throw with based on speed. First up, what I putt with is some DX legit stamped AVRs. They're a little bit faster, a little bit slimmer. They're not quite as dummy as some AVRs. I kind of am pretty specific about the ones I putt with, but these are pretty slim, so they're faster to the basket for how I putt. Because I'm more of a spin putter, but I kind of putt nose down, so it's down and in. I guess next, starting with slow, will be my Sonic. I've actually used this a surprising amount, especially in wooded courses. For example, Worlds at Brewster Ridge on some of those slower upshots. Great angle control for this, and it's been in my bag for several years, so I just know how it flies. Next will be my Star AVR 3. Kind of the same story with this. It's been in my bag for several years, so it's very flippy. I know what it's going to do, and it can come out of my hand very fast, especially for those 300-foot wooded turnover shots. Next up is my AVR X3. Completely different story. It's relatively new to the bag. I've thrown one all year, but since I throw it so much, I have a lot of backups for the same run, and I end up losing them. But it's super overstable. It kind of fits my form really well for those baby Annies to flat and hyzers, because I'm a big fan of the hyzer game and the flat to fade out, just for consistency, and it fits a lot of the courses I play. Next up would be my Star AVR 3. This is my third AVR in the bag, throwing AVR. It's a little bit more stable than that yellow one, and a little bit less stable than that X3. It's kind of for that power flat to flip up or flip over that 3 to 350 range. Next is the Toro. Specifically the Champion Toro. I put it in my bag for forehands. I don't use it a lot for backhands just because those other AVRs kind of fit that category, but if I do, it'll just be pushing it just a little bit farther. But it tends to skip more and have more action on the green than my AVRs. Next would be this Glow Gator 3. Shout out to Joel Freeman, who gave me this one actually as a replacement to one I'd lost in the water a couple weeks ago. This one is kind of for that super overstable hyzer to down or playing into a headwind. There is a lot of ground action with this, just it being a Gator, so I don't throw it that much, but it does come in handy when it gets real windy outside. Next up, going a little bit less stable, is my Halo Rock 3. I actually aced with this disc at Worlds on hole 12 at Brewster. It's a great disc. It's a little bit more domey than what Rock 3s are meant to be, so it carries the angle and the glide really well, and I really enjoy that for that 350 to 400 foot range, pushing it just a little bit farther. And then we move on to the little bit less stable. We have the Champion Mako 3. This disc is great for those hyzer, dramatic turnover shots through the woods. It's a lot of fun to throw, and I suggest you go get it if you're newer to the game or just looking for that hyzer flip over to hold that turn. Next are my fairways. The most understable fairway in my bag is this beat up Star Roadrunner. It's super domey for a Roadrunner too, and it holds those turnovers. The reason it's in my bag is for rollers. I almost never throw air shot with it, but it's perfect for that 500-foot roller that just kind of dies at the end. Put those right there. Next up is my Halo Leopard 3, own Scoggin Series. This one is for rollers too, actually. It's a little beat up and not really great for my wooded shots. Like, it just doesn't quite throw the way I want it to for those wooded shots. It kind of fades a little faster than I would want, but I use it for rollers, and it's great because it holds that turn. So anytime I'm trying to throw a cut roller left, and hold it, say through a Mando or through the gap on a fairway, and I want it to hold and then come out at the very end, I'm throwing this disc. It holds really well and is very dependable. Next up, these bad boys are my money makers. I've thrown these all year long. This has actually been in my bag since Las Vegas, and then this one has been in my bag since DDO. I'll start with this one. This one is a Halo TL3. These are perfect. It's a speed 8, and they are perfect for that 400-foot tunnel shot to controlled range. I mean, I've thrown them all year long at every course, every round I've played. Super dependable and super consistent, and it has a little bit smaller wing, so my hands are a little bit smaller and they fit perfectly on the rim, which is why I gear more towards TL3s, even for that 400 plus range if I can, because wider discs tend to fit a little bit awkward when it comes to where I place my pinky. Next up is its brother, or cousin I should say, the Exodus from Infinite Discs. I'm not sure if it's the same mold, it's very similar, but this splatter plastic is a little bit more stable, and it tends to hold the line just a little bit longer with a little bit of fade, and it comes in great for a little bit more open holes. Next up is another moneymaker, really. I've probably thrown this disc very similar to every hole. This is a Champion Thunderbird. If I had a choice, Thunderbird would be my Toro Series disc. This disc does more for me in the woods and open than any other disc. Just simply, it's a little bit flatter, but I can crank over on this and throw it the way I need to and know it's going to come out. It's very torque resistant, and it fits very comfortably in my hand. Next up, this is actually a new addition to the bag I got recently, kind of to replace that overstable Firebird range I know a lot of people throw. This is a Metal Flake Draco. This is a lot of fun to throw. It's really the first super overstable disc I can trust on cranking over on a forehand Annie and trusting it can come out. I'm still working on my forehand a lot. I kind of have the distance down now. It's more about angle control and consistency, but this is a disc I can trust in those overbearing headwinds of Texas and Oklahoma. Kind of the same story with this, a little bit faster disc. This is the Halo Inova Juggernaut. So this disc really doesn't find its way onto the course very much just because it is so overstable. It really only comes out when it's too much wind for any other disc. It really is so overstable, it doesn't go very far, but it is a great scramble disc if you need something crazy, and it's fun to throw. Next up is my drivers. I have 4 drivers. All Destroyer. I'll start with this blue one. This blue one has been in my bag as long as I've been sponsored by Inova. It's legit stamped Star Destroyer. Essentially is my flippiest. If I'm trying to just crank over as far as I can, if I'm trying to show off or just have fun, I'm definitely throwing this one. Super flippy. Go into a roller if you're trying to go big distance roller. I tend to roll more flippy discs and not overstable just because of my throwing style. I enjoy it a lot. Shout out to Jedi Discs. He sent me this a couple months ago. This is a Domi Star Destroyer. He dyed it Texas flag for me. It's beautiful. I've had a lot of fun throwing this disc. It goes very far. It's a little bit bubbled, so it tends to just carry that angle too, and it's super consistent for me. All right. These are the same Destroyer. One's a little bit older and one's a little bit newer. They're Halo Series, and this one has been in my bag for several months now. It kind of got to the point where it's starting to chip up, hit a few rocks. Wasn't quite finishing the way I wanted. And so at the time I bought this, I had bought 4 identical to it. So if it ever happened, I could put a new one in the bag that I really enjoyed. And that is this guy. Any distance that I need, 500 plus, 550 plus, I will be throwing this. Just for the fact that I can throw it on the hyzer and trust that it'll carry that hyzer and flatten out and fade dependably every time, even into the wind. And it's a lot of fun to throw. All right, next up, we've got the rest of what's in the bag. This is my Bushnell Rangefinder. Comes in really handy whenever I need it, especially on those longer courses we play on tour where you're not quite sure how far you are to the pin and you're kind of in between throwing putter or mid-range. This comes in handy a lot. I got my towel. Got my ibuprofen, never know when you might need that. Shout out Fruity Grip Sacks. This is actually one of her creations. It is a strawberry. She uses actual gym chalk, which is what I use a lot because for me it just feels good the way it just takes the moisture out and still leaves the grip in your hands. I enjoy that. Got my bag tags. Shout out Stephenville and Dublin, Texas. And then I got a little Ducky. It's actually from my girlfriend, so it found its way on the bag. I've got an American flag patch representing. I love that patch. I've got hand warmers, my keys, my phone, my wallet, everything goes up here. And then my hand warmers because I hate the cold. And if I'm gonna be cold, my hands are gonna be warm. My mini on this side, Inova mini. I've got my Sharpies in the back. And then my rain fly. Alright, that's all guys. I hope you liked my in the bag. I will be having a 2024 in the bag as this next season comes out. I'll be making a few improvements and changes, just putting new discs in the bag and taking out some of these old plastics and just looking for a new flight. I appreciate it. If you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe, share, and do all those things. This is Zach Nash.